A lot going on around judges at the moment, but let's update you on what we expect to be the main political story of the day. I realise difficult to make predictions in Mzansi, but the MK Party deputy leader and the leader of the team in Parliament, John Hlophe, due to discuss tensions within the party in the next few moments. He'll be briefing alongside the Chief Whip, Colleen Makhubele, both of whom have been the subjects of letters from members of the MK Parliamentary caucus. A senior political reporter almost promoted you, Ziyanda. Ziyanda Ngcobo joins us now. Ziyanda, good afternoon to you. All right, a lot going on sort of around MK at the moment. It does seem, as an outsider, that there's quite a little bit of tension within the caucus.
Absolutely, and in the next few minutes, 10 minutes or so, we'll be able to get some clarity from Colleen Makhubele and Dr. John Hlophe. Of course, Colleen Makhubele being described as someone who has an autocratic leadership style in that letter that was written directly to the president of the MK party, Jacob Zuma, but also that letter circulating on social media that was allegedly penned by Hlophe, complaining about the behavior of Nhlamulo Ndlela and Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, describing their behavior as unruly and disruptive, describing an instance where, Zuma Sambudla tried to throw a tantrum, stood up and then said, "Are we not done?" and then sat down when she realized that no one was going to follow her. That letter being denied by Nhlamulo Ndlela, which is quite interesting, of course, because he is the head of communications. But this is what he told Newzroom Afrika earlier this week.
I've had a conversation with the party leader, Dr. Hlophe, and party leader then said to me, in his response to say, Sompisi, he refers to me as Sompisi, my digital signature has been abused. And I pretty much left it at that. So effectively, I've never seen that letter in its physical form. I've never received it. And when I spoke to the deputy president and party leader in parliament, that was his response to me, that his digital signature has been abused. And I guess that in of itself is telling.
It's also telling, Stephen, because then it means that there are people probably inside the MK party who are abusing the signature of Hlophe, which also is an indictment of how things are running internally within the organization, if this version is to be believed. And we anticipate Hlophe to pretty much say that since, this briefing is going ahead and they'd want to clarify issues, of course, because there have been so many changes as well to the MK party caucus. Mzwanele Manyi was chief whip, and then he was removed via WhatsApp, and then Colleen Makhubele has been there for a month, and already there are complaints about her leadership style. There are things that have been said by Floyd Shivambu about, the likes of Nhlamulo Ndlela and Duduzile Zuma Sambudla, and how they have, abused their proximity to the president of the MK party and are causing trouble. So we'll see whether or not how far these two leaders will go in terms of their level of honesty, in particular with how they're running things in Parliament. They've been criticised a lot for not being an effective opposition from their own constituency, their own supporters. They're not in charge in KZN. They've got 45% there. They were given that mandate by the electorate, and that nothing's been done there. Of course, that's not necessarily within the scope of Parliament, but the members of, the legislature in KwaZulu-Natal, their work there has also been questioned. So there's lots to be said about the MK party and the various shifts there, the resignations that have been coming in, others following Floyd Shivambu to this Maibuye consultative process. And so we understand as well that the top structure of the organization will be meeting at the weekend, and they'll be speaking about what's going to happen next. But certainly everyone trying to piece together what's to be made. You can see now on our visuals that they are preparing for that briefing. Hopefully it will start on time. But what happens in Parliament is also very important. They're the official opposition. And many questions about which issues exactly has the MK party been taking up in that Parliament, besides the few things that we've been seeing various individuals taking up in those various portfolio committees.
I mean, it's very interesting to watch because it shows you also how difficult politics is.
Yeah.
We've spent a lot of time over the years looking at what happens in the ANC. We're spending a bit more time now focusing on what happens in the DA. political parties and caucuses are difficult to manage. You can't just tell them what to do. You have to negotiate them. Even Gwede Mantashe, I remember, in his sort of prime as Secretary General, couldn't always get the ANC caucus to all vote to protect then President Jacob Zuma, for example. It's a tough business.
And this is exactly why this briefing is interesting, because as I mentioned earlier, this media alert about this briefing came directly from Colleen Makhubele herself, which she has every right to distribute, by the way. But you'll know that within the Mkhonto Sizwe party, there's a lot of centralizing of processes, including the communications process. But what makes it difficult here is that the very person who's heading up the comms department, Lamulo Ndlela, is accused of abusing that position by not allowing other members of parliament to speak freely on issues that are directly at their doorstep, whether it's about the budget, whether it's about many issues that come up in parliament. That's what he's been accused of. And so for all we know, this could have also been an act of defiance on the part of Makhubele to say, well, I'm going to have this briefing whether you like it or not, because I'm empowered as the chief whip to call my own briefing alongside the leader of caucus, which is Dr. John Hlophe. I mean, at the end of the day, Stephen, whatever happens in Parliament needs Dr. John Hlophe's signature at the end of the day, including the removal, for an example, of Mzwanele Manyo. I'm told, you know, when it actually happened, there were some who were calling around the Speaker's office to say, but who signed off on this? And the Speaker's office had to say, well, Dr. John Hlophe's signature is on the letter, and he's the only person that we have to actually listen to insofar as the movements within the caucus. We're not involved in the internal dynamics of the party, or whether or not former President Jacob Zuma, the president of the party, was made aware of a particular decision. So, you know, this is also very telling, again, like I said, about the structures, the culture, and who the reporting lines within the organization and who is holding power in the contestation of that.